The students at the margins in my context are undocumented college students. So for the past 6 years, I've been looking at the lives and their experience and their educational pathways of undocumented students in the U.S. context. For undocumented students in the United States, the biggest challenge is that they don't have legal presence, they don't have a legal status. And so they're not able to access the same opportunities that students with citizenship have. For instance, they're not able to access the federal financial aid system. So the majority of the way they finance their college education is through private loans or out-of-pocket money. The other challenge is that they simply fear deportation at times. Sometimes because they don't have legal status, they're essentially don't have presence in the United States. So their parents could be deported, they could be deported, so that fear of deportation is always there. So in my work, I focus on their voices and their narratives. When we talk about the issue of immigration, often we have these controlling images of what immigrants are in the United States. And so it's been very important to me, and it's been sort of what drives my research, is to put those narratives of individuals who don't know any other context but living in the US, who may not even speak the native language or Spanish or their native tongue because they've been in the US since they were 1 or 2 years old. And so the importance of my work has been centered on these personal narrative and life stories of these individuals and how they've navigated and how they've grappled with identity, with college persistence. When I was working for the Student Support Services, which is a TRIO federally funded program, I got a call about assisting an undocumented student. And we weren't able to place that student in our program because it is a federal funded program. They have to qualify as Pell recipients, which they don't. Even though they were low income, even though they were first generation, they weren't able to provide our services. And so that got me thinking, if not us, then who does provide services for undocumented students? We have to take language in consideration. We have to take identity in consideration. And so being here has really broadened my understanding that this is not just a US issue, but indeed a global society issue. And I think if we start to understand globally migration and globally sort of how institutions of higher education can be more inclusive of language and identity, and how those are assets, for the learning process, for educational institutions, then I think we can really start to be inclusive, that we really can practice equity in that sense.